What's up, grinders? Welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be talking about this interview, become fluent in 1 year using this routine, Mikel Hyperpolyglot. Now, I've got several really big gripes with this video. The first one is actually directed at Lewis and the way you're handling interviews on your channel. Because I feel like you have massive potential, my man. You have massive potential and you don't even have to stay in the language space. You could spread beyond this if you actually pushed back a little bit. Basically, from what I've found so far when watching your interviews, is that you invite the person on, you ask them to introduce themselves, you hit them with a couple of softball questions, and I'm talking super softball, okay? And then you just let them talk. You just let them talk the entire time. Now, I understand, as the interviewer, you want to provide them the platform so that they can present their ideas. But to be an effective interviewer, my man, and to keep people wanting to watch your videos in the future, you have to actually, like, people want to come here and see, okay, let's see Lewis dig into Mikel and really unravel what's going on behind the scenes here. Like, I'm going to show you guys all, we're going to watch it. This is the, I'm going to say, the most ticklish question that Lewis presented to Mikel. Let's begin.
So you talked about, all of the, I don't know if all of them, but a lot of the languages that you've learned. And I want to dig into sort of your techniques and how you've learned these languages. And the first thing I want to talk about is, I think a lot of people know you on YouTube because you call the, learn like a child approach, you call it terrible advice, and also comprehensible input, you call it quote unquote pure garbage. So that's from your videos. What do you, could you justify this? Because I understand what you mean, but I think a lot of people, I can see the haters coming in the comments. So could you explain this a little bit?
It's very strong language now that I hear it from somewhere else. But the thing is, I was much nicer about it in the beginning. You recently made a video that was really good about comprehensible inputs.
Okay, so first up, there was some type of cut that happened there. I don't know what was cut. I don't know if it was just a slight break or something, but there was a cut. But that is the most difficult question you put towards Mikel. There is so many more questions you could have thrown at him if you did your research. I'm assuming you did do your research, but you felt in order to do this interview, you could not present the hard questions. Now, first up, this is a great question. Mikel loves fucking rage baiting the dreaming Spanish community, okay? Now, I understand. Learning just via input is a slow-ass method, and anyone who's studied how to learn languages and the different methods that exist out there will acknowledge the fact that it is a slow-ass method. But Mikel basically rage baits them by calling them idiots in his shorts, by saying, oh, you're an idiot for using this method. No, okay, there are people who want to use this method because they do not feel like they are able to do these grind methods that I promote and also Mikel promotes, okay? Do we want them to just stop learning languages because they are not equipped to deal with the methods that we like? No, we need to, as teachers and tutors, which I believe Mikel actually sells himself as, should go, okay, I understand we've tried this, you don't like cards, you don't like language islands, you don't like any of this shit, but I still want you to succeed. Maybe this will work for you. Dreaming Spanish, okay? The ALG method now is the least effective method out there, but some people fucking swear by it. They love it. Why don't you give that a try? And if they end up actually making progress and enjoying it, who cares if it takes them an extra 2,000 hours? The fact is that they're actually using this method. So you could have pushed back there. You could have said, okay, but obviously some people they're not built like you, Mikel. They can't just sit in front of a spreadsheet all day. What about those people? What would you say to them? Would you say it's better to just give up? Just to stop? Or should they still just use this method? See what he actually thinks. This is something he never talks about in his videos. This is something that you could have got, like, you could have been the exposure, here. Or you could have dug into the fact that he had a Japanese challenge. One that he proclaimed very loudly on his YouTube channel to prove all the haters wrong about his method of learning a language in 3 months, yet he silently freaking strangled and never spoke about again. That would have been a great thing to cover off on, okay? Now, I understand that would have been a bit awkward of a conversation, but I guarantee you that would have brought in the views, okay? Now, Mikel, he's a hard man. He can deal with a little bit of a questioning, okay? I'm sure him being the alpha male, freaking shaved head guy that he is, because he even talks about being a solid dude, okay? He would be able to deal with those questions. So why not throw the hard ones at him? What about the fact that he claims a bunch of languages as fluent, which we've got very little proof of him actually being fluent in. And I've done an investigation into him. You could have even popped things straight from that. If I'm too, like, of a dirty subject, like maybe you guys had an agreement, you can't ask anything Evildea's asked. There's plenty of shit on Reddit you could have asked about, okay? There's lots of people who got the same questions as me. You didn't even have to bring up my name, okay? So it's like, you as the interviewer, if you want to be an interviewer, you can't just be a propagandist, which is basically what you're doing at the moment. You're bringing these people into your channel, they're presenting their ideas, there's no pushback at all, and then you're just letting them walk away, okay? So if that is what the route that you want to go, I don't think you have too much of a future. Okay, you're gonna wallow there in the small amount of views that you get, and depending on the person you manage to bring on the channel, you might get more, you might get less. Now, I'm not trying to be a shit human, okay? I'm being a legit YouTuber. I'm a YouTuber speaking to a YouTuber. You have a bigger channel than me, okay? So you should know this from time and experience, but you gotta really dig into this shit. If you don't start interviewing these people properly, well then fucking I'll do it, okay? Because I'm sick of it. I want to see some legit good interviews with some serious pushback on this stuff. Okay, now the second issue I got is in this back end of the video, okay, where you guys talk about hypothetically learning a language such as Thai, which would have been very nice to bring in the whole Japanese challenge that he undertook and failed, but let's ignore that. He speaks about how he helps people learn languages that he doesn't speak. Yeah. He says it to your face, okay? Like, I can't find the exact moment, but anyone, you guys can go watch the interview yourself. Basically, Mikel says, okay, well, I've been asked by clients to, prepare plans and stuff for how they can learn language and mnemonics. He talks about mnemonics here, preparing mnemonics for languages he doesn't speak. Now, my first thought and my first reaction was, and what I would do is I'd go, but Mikel, doesn't the power of mnemonics, like, you don't have to negate mnemonics, you can go, isn't the power of mnemonics come from the fact that they are creating associations based on what they know and what is easy for them to hook into? Now, Mikel might have replied and said, well, yeah, no, that's what I teach them how to do that. But you never asked him that, so we don't know what he does. All we know is that based on what we've heard in his videos, he prepares mnemonics for him. That sounds fucking terrible to me, especially if he doesn't know how to pronounce that language, and tonal languages, which we get into with Thai here. So you could have actually got more information out of him, made this more than just another Mikel video, because everything he said in this video is exactly the same as he said on his channel. You could have made your video so much more. You had the opportunity, but you fucking blew it. Okay, now he speaks about Thai and his methods here. He doesn't even mention tones, okay? Nothing about that stuff. And he talks about using mnemonics to learn the sounds of that language, okay? And here's the thing, if you've actually learnt a language, you know what works for a language and what doesn't. And the problem is Mikel is applying his European languages that he's learnt to a language that is very, very far removed. And in my original one, I actually spoke about if you really want to do mnemonics and mnemonics works for you, there's a way to do it for Chinese. And it's not what Mikel's talking about here. He's just saying associated with fucking words that you already know. And like, your native language. One, that's not going to work with a language that's pronunciation is so far removed from your own that the mnemonics you make are going to fucking fuck you up in the long term. But two, if you do want to do mnemonics, there is a way to do it. I'll tell you how to do it with Chinese, okay? In Chinese, there is a very set number of sounds that exist, okay? You can't just assign every word to some sound, like to some random sentence that you've got in English, because they all sound fucking the same, okay? It's not going to work. But since there is a limited number of sounds, and there's a limited number of tones, and if you combine those, you're going to roughly end up with 1,200, 1,300 unique sounds that include tones ingrained, okay? You can then assign, essentially, every single one of those syllables, if you want to go to the mnemonic path, an actual image. And then you can create funny stories related to every single word in Chinese. Now, you don't even need to do 1,200, 1,300. You could probably do that for a couple of hundred, because a lot of sounds in Chinese are actually quite rare. They don't exist in a lot of words. And there's some that exist in so many goddamn words. So Mikel doesn't know this, because he hasn't learned Chinese. And he's talking about hypothetically learning Thai, which he has not learned. So here, you could push back and say, okay, Mikel, but wouldn't it be better for someone to actually speak with a teacher who knows Thai? What happens if would you still take on someone in that case? Or would you at least go, okay, this is what I would do, but here's someone I would actually recommend who can help you better? Because I feel, as a tutor in the past, if I'm not equipped to teach that language or whatever it is I'm teaching at that moment, then my job is, and yes, I know I'm going to lose money, but I should redirect you to someone who is. And by doing that, I hope that they will redirect people to me who need my expertise on certain things, okay? We're talking about hypothetically learning Thai using techniques that he's learned to use European languages. I don't even know much about Thai. I know it's got tones and stuff, and nothing was mentioned about that. But it's just like, this is the problem, okay? Everyone wants a universal solution, but there are solutions that are better for each language, and then there are solutions that are better for each individual. That's how we should have started this. Not with, this is my routine, this is the perfect way to do it for every single language. You do this, otherwise you're an idiot. No, that is not the case. First you start with the student. How do you like to learn? What are you trying to learn? Okay, well, am I equipped to teach you that or help you to learn that? And if I am equipped to help you to learn that, what method should we use that's most best for you? And we can come back to the fucking comprehensible input example, where I don't know if I said it in this video because I've been raging for a bit now, but some people, that is the only method that works for them, okay? And we shouldn't shut those people down just because they're not as hard as you and they can't do your method. So that's my major gripes with this interview. First up, Lewis, my man, improve your fucking interview format. I want to like you. I want to like what you're doing. There's not many people out there doing what you're doing, interviewing these guys. But at the moment, every one of your videos is a walking fucking advertisement. And Mikel, I understand you're trying to be hard and you've got the grind set mentality. I fucking love the grind set mentality. But my man, you also need to learn that there is more ways to do something. There's more ways to roast this fucking chicken than just doing it your way, okay? Now, I understand you're also trying to make money selling this shit, but you could make money by fucking teaching people how to learn different ways, okay? I think I've raged enough. If you guys enjoyed this video, let me know in the comment section below. And I'll see you all next video. I will put a link into the description and comment section down below for those who do want to explore this video and watch it themselves. Yeah, I didn't feel it was really necessary.